and welcome back to Dukascopy TV. Joining me in the studio once again is Majbritt Byskov Bridges from Guardian Wealth Management. Last time Majbritt was here, she discussed the WIN conference in Rome. Today she's going to be discussing the Career Women's Forum in Geneva. Majbritt, thank you very much for coming back into the studio.
Thank you, Natalie, for having us back again.
Now, the Career Women's Forum, it was started over 30 years ago in Geneva and has over 300 members now. What exactly are its aims?
Well, it did start 30 years ago, and really its aim is to have quality networking for professional women. And there are 300 members, and they're of about 30 different nationalities. And really the idea is to share and exchange ideas which will help women develop in their professional careers, but also in their personal lives. Now, what's happened over the last couple of years is that there's a new group, the 50 Plus initiative, which started up, and this was just because there's been a change we can see now in the demographics in Switzerland, that there are more women who are reaching 50 in the professions. And so what they try to do is set up a different group which helps confront some of these negative ageist attitudes that can be found in the workforce, but also to activate women as they reach retirement and as they enter into retirement, and keep them active in some sort of networking group.
You touched on retirement there, and you are going to be giving a presentation called Retirement, the Ticking Bomb. We touched a little bit on the problems associated with career women saving for retirement last time, and in fact a US report has indicated that women are twice as likely to live in poverty when in their pension years opposed to men. But what other sort of concerns do career women have regarding retirement?
So as a financial advisor specializing in financial planning for international women, what I will be addressing in one is the key issue again of taking control of your financial present and future. So working out what you actually have accumulated so far in your pension and what it will actually be worth in the future. A lot of people are even unaware as to what type of pension they're paying into, and we see there is a big change now from the different types of pension schemes that are available. We also are very aware that the state pension schemes are extremely underfunded, and more are company pensions as well. So coming back to your question on women being more likely to end up in poverty at retirement, This can be due to different reasons. One is that women do end up paying less into their pension systems, and contributing into them, whether it's into the defined benefit or into the contribution pension schemes, because women do end up working less years. And this can also be due to maternity leave, it can be due to children, family, but also traditionally women's wages are lower, so there will be a lesser accumulation in there. We've also seen that in Europe, women tend to retire earlier than men. And on average, women seem to retire about 18 months earlier than men. So that is also missed out. Now, I'd like to just go through a few statistics that are available out there. One of the statistics is that only 50% of women between the ages of 55 and 59 are currently employed. And that drops to 20% at the age of 60 to 64. So only 20% of women between the ages of 60 and 64 are actually currently employed. On top of this, 45% of women start reducing their work hours in their mid-50s. So this all accumulates to this pension contribution, which is lower and lower. As we also know, women do live longer than men, and the life expectancy for men right now is 77 years. This will increase to 85 years by the year 2060, but for women already the life expectancy today is 83 years of age, which will increase to 89 years by the year 2060. This means that women will be in retirement longer on average than they were in their working careers. So these pension systems cannot support that. And therefore, we're moving towards this defined contribution where you are in charge yourself of your own pension and what you want to do with it. And just to come back to one last statistic, which I found was interesting, is that 95% of women will end up alone at some point in their lives. And this can be due to separation, be due to divorce, and also being widowed. So women really need to take control themselves of their financial future, because we cannot depend on anyone else.
With sort of all of that in mind, what steps would you advise women to take now then, and are they being facilitated in the present day workplace?
Yeah, well, the main political agenda right now in Europe is retirement. So it's something which is in the news very much, and it is a question of just understanding one's own pension. Because often when you go into a new job, you go through everything and the job fits perfectly, and then at the end you go, oh, wait a minute, does the company have a pension scheme? And they go, yes, it's very good. And you go, oh, okay, well then everything's fine. And then you don't think about it for years and years. And suddenly you reach sort of late 40s into your 50s and you go, well, wait a minute. What is it that I've actually got? What is my pension going to be? I haven't thought about it about all these years. So then suddenly there's this mad rush of accumulating and working out whether there is going to be enough. And most likely there isn't enough. So what we try and encourage people is obviously to start as early as possible. Start putting something aside, bit by bit, accumulating. The ideal scenario is to accumulate a lump sum that's going to be big enough that you can draw an annuity from your own capital. That's obviously the ideal scenario, because then you've got your capital and you can use your capital how you want, if needed, and ideally just live off the annuity. But what needs to be done is that capital needs to be accumulated, and it can be either on a monthly basis, just putting something aside on a monthly basis, or it can be making sure that your savings that you've already got are working for you properly. So what we advise people and how we work with people is to find some diversity through their savings, through their investments, so that as markets shift, people have the possibility to use their capital along the years as well.
Well, Majbritt, that's got me thinking that perhaps I need to be thinking about my pension scheme a little bit more. Thank you very much for that. That does bring us on quite nicely to the Dukascopy question, which is, we ask our guests at the end of each interview, if you had $1 million for 1 year, where would you invest it? So if we take a look at our options, we've got real estate, equity, bonds, gold, cash, and oil. So $1 million for 1 year. What would you do with it?
As a financial planner, I would diversify throughout them. But if we're talking about over the next year, and with the fact that I would have some time to recover that if it was for my pension, I would say equities. Equities at the moment are very, very low. We saw the markets drop significantly at the beginning of the year, and therefore now there's a good pickup at the moment. So I would suggest for my personal amount to go into equities.
Go with equities. That's great. Majbritt, thank you very much for coming back in.
Thank you.
We'll be back shortly with more exclusive interviews. For now though, goodbye.